Okay, so something really fascinating is going on inside the boardrooms of some of America's biggest companies. We're seeing this sudden wave of multi-million-dollar stock sales from the very people who know these businesses inside and out, their top directors and executives. And it makes you wonder, right? What do they know that the rest of us don't? So, the question on every investor's mind is pretty simple. Why now? Is this just business as usual, or is this a sign that something is about to shift? Let's dive in and break down what's really going on here. Let's start with a real giant, Chevron. One of their directors just made a single massive sale, cashing out shares worth a staggering $83 million. And it doesn't stop there. Then we hop over to the world's most valuable tech company, Apple. A top executive there just sold off stock worth nearly $50 million. You starting to see the pattern here? And it's not just oil and tech. Over at the video game maker Electronic Arts, a board member made a sale worth almost $19 million. These are not small numbers, and it's all happening around the same time. To really get the significance of these sales, we first need to be clear on a key term: insider action. It's a phrase that makes people who follow the market really sit up and pay attention. Okay, the crucial point here is that insider action refers to stock sales that are spontaneous. These are not the automated, pre-planned trades that happen all the time. No, these are active decisions made right now, probably for a very specific reason. And this is where the difference becomes so important. On one hand, you have pre-planned sales. They're common, people use them for financial planning, and the market mostly just shrugs. But then you have this unplanned insider action. Because it's a deliberate one-time decision, analysts see it as a much bigger deal. It might just tell you what an insider is thinking right now. All right, now that we know what we're looking for, let's take a closer look at these specific multi-million-dollar sales that have been making headlines. Let's go back to that huge $83 million sale at Chevron and really dig into the story behind that number. So, the seller was director John Hess. He sold over 500,000 shares, pulling in nearly $83 million. But the key here isn't just the amount, it's who he is and when he sold. And here's the context. John Hess wasn't just any director. He was the former CEO of Hess Corporation, which Chevron had just bought for a mind-blowing $53 billion. So he joins the board as part of that massive deal, and then, boom, shortly after, he makes this enormous sale. The timing is, well, it's pretty interesting. Okay, next up, let's head over to Cupertino, where a similar kind of story was unfolding at Apple. In this case, a chief operating officer sold more than 95,000 shares for just under $50 million. Again, a huge, unplanned sale from someone at the very, very top of one of the world's most valuable companies. And finally, let's jump into the world of gaming with Electronic Arts, or EA as you probably know them. Here, board member Jeff Huber sold nearly 96,000 shares for around $19 million. So we've seen it in energy, we've seen it in tech, and now in entertainment. The pattern is pretty clear: big, spontaneous selling by key insiders. So this brings us to the big question, right? What's motivating all of this? Are these insiders seeing something that the rest of the market doesn't? Let's try to read the tea leaves a bit. One major clue comes from just how well these stocks have been doing. Take a look. Apple is up more than 80% this year. Electronic Arts is up nearly 40%. These aren't just little gains. This is a massive run-up in value, which means huge paper profits for these executives. Yeah, this isn't happening in a vacuum. These executives are selling after their company stock has had an incredible year of growth. When you see a pattern like this, it's pretty hard to believe the timing is just a coincidence. So how should we interpret all this? Is it a clear signal to the market, or is it just noise? A few wealthy people making personal financial moves. It really boils down to two competing theories. The first one is simple. These executives are just cashing in. Their stock is worth a fortune, and it's a smart time to take some of those profits off the table. The second interpretation, though, is a little more ominous. It could be a warning. Insiders might believe their stock price has finally hit its peak, and they're deciding to sell before a possible drop. And that's really the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? Are we just seeing savvy executives locking in their gains after a fantastic year? Or are these sales the canary in the coal mine, a signal from the people with the most information that the best days might be behind them? For now, all we can do is watch.